This is Shit My Daddy Didn't Teach Me. I'm your host, Hugo. This is Mullen, Marley, and Shannon. Welcome to another episode of Shit My Daddy Didn't Teach Me. I'm your host, Hugo, and our lovely co-host, Red. Today we're talking about co-parenting.
Man, it's probably one of the biggest, most important things in the world.
Absolutely, absolutely. So there's about 15 million children who live exclusively with their mothers in the U.S., and about another 3 million that live exclusively with their fathers in the U.S.
Look at the drastic difference in those numbers.
It's a big difference.
Man.
Yeah. Our goal today is just basically to bring awareness of this and talk about solutions, because the children are our future.
And they're all that matter at the end of the day. And I mean, if you really think about co-parenting, 2 adults decided to lay down with each other and a child was born. The only person that did not consent to this arrangement is the child. So why are they the ones that have to suffer?
Because the bar night didn't go well.
Well, and I think that is one of the most important things. We'll talk about that later, but choose wisely.
Yeah.
It's the most important choice you'll ever make in your whole life. It's not, oh, I wore this red jacket. I hope the red jacket doesn't clash with my red hair. Oh, geez. No, it is a lifelong decision that you're making. You are choosing someone to raise a human with. It doesn't get any deeper or more serious. Or, man, if there was one thing that you really had to spend a lot of time on in life, it's that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Man.
After putting yourself together, definitely your legacy as it's coming up afterwards is so important. I hope it's important to you. It's important to us. So.
And I think that, so we look at co-parenting and, people think it's just, okay, we're going to set up this, you get them sometimes, I get them sometimes, and that's all. No, co-parenting is so much more than that. And I think that parents use children as a tool. They use them as a punishment. They use them as, they say that half of the people that are on child support suffer an extreme hardship because of that child support. And that the most weaponized thing that people do is, if you can't pay in full, you can't see your child. Let me say that again.
Run it back.
If you can't pay in full, you cannot see your child. I can tell you what, your presence means so much more than that extra $50. I don't care what the number is, $500. If you have a parent who wants to be there, who wants to be involved, and they are struggling financially, but they are making up for it with their presence, and you do not let those children see them, shame on you. That is... The presence of both parents is going to lead to the success of that child so much more than anything else. Coming from a household where the father contributed and thought he was amazing for being a paycheck, let me tell you, there's 3 little girls that grew up in that home that would have taken him being present at soccer games, volleyball games, band competitions, family dinners, than any paycheck.
Well, you got to think about this, though. Money is the most used excuse in exchange for anything that's important.
Yes.
So I was going to get a bag. Oh, that's why you missed your daughter's birth. Okay, cool. You could insert it in this culture, in this capitalistic society, to anything, and they're like, oh yeah, It's a noble thing. It's not fucking noble. We need to get back to nature. We need to get back to our biology and physiology of how we function as humans, because that's all that fucking matter. You live all the time on the inside of your body.
Yes.
You don't live on the outside of your body.
No. And I think that, you know, people get so mad because they really expect, oh, I'm going to be with this person forever. And then it doesn't work out. Like most things.
Yeah.
And so then the punishment is, well, I'm going to make you pay for it. And there's a lot of ways that people try to make each other pay for it. Yeah. And money is just a greedy, money's dead. It's a dead piece of paper. But people are so obsessed with money. And so, you know, the only one that suffers is the child. So if I say that the father's never there, then I get more child support. He can't pay. I don't let him see him. So then I say, oh, he's not there even more. So then I ask for more money. It's just this cycle. You're just, again, so now your son or your daughter thinks their father doesn't care about him, thinks their father doesn't want to see him. Little do they know that you're literally precluding that from happening. That the child suffers, the child gets a complex, the child, all of these things, the only person that suffers is the child.
You know, and the statistic is just alarming. 18 million children in the United States are fatherless. And I think about, you know, in my previous life, I've raised 2 stepkids, and one of them for over 10 years, I fathered the child. And I remember the mother told me that, well, if you're not a good husband, you can't be a good dad. The two are not the same.
They have nothing to do with each other.
At all. And then, of course, the lovely, I'll find anyone will father my kids. I guess she didn't know the statistics of people with their own biological children.
And I'm really glad that you said that, because one of the statistics that I was going to bring up is they say that co-parenting after separation drastically drops. The cooperation in co-parenting drastically drops when one of the other parents gets in a new relationship.
Isn't that crazy?
Listen, how is that possible?
So the child is based on the partner, not the child.
The relationship with
the child is based on the actual relationship with the partner.
So we're good until you move on, and then you can't see the kid anymore?
So all of a sudden, I move on and I can't be a father.
How is that possible?
Make that make sense.
Right, because...
So then the kid is then not important in a society structured like that. So the kid is a pawn at that point. At its own expense. At
its own expense. And again, you know, adults, if they really had emotional intelligence, they would realize, if all I want is the best for my child, if I know that you're an amazing father, regardless of our title, right? Because we've talked about this before. The only guarantee in life, the only guarantee title that you will have that will never, ever, ever expire is mom or dad.
Absolutely.
I could have a title as single and then get in a relationship. I'm not single anymore. Absolutely. But I could have, my last name is this, I get married and it changes. Everything in life changes. There is no guarantees, but let me tell you something. The second you have a child, whether you're married, whether you're single, your mom, your dad, and you will never lose that title until the day you die. So
it's a shame we don't take it more seriously.
And if I know that you're an amazing man, right? Hopefully I chose wisely to pick you as the father of my child. Or
got lucky.
Yeah. Who knows? I'll take both.
Sometimes luck plays into this because we don't really know what we're doing.
We don't. So. But you know, we use each other as an example. But I know that if this ever didn't work out, you're never going to choose a partner that wouldn't treat our child with the utmost respect and be loving to them and protective of them and respectful to me. So to me, that's a bonus for our child.
But that goes back to how I view myself.
100%.
So the accountability of what I have and the standard for myself, that's what that goes back to.
But it's emotional intelligence. And you know
Yeah.
that I love and our children are my number one focus. So if I ever chose to move on and bring some around, he's going to be someone that you would feel comfortable being around. So that is, again, just another person. Let me tell you, when they say it takes a village to raise your children, it's probably one of the most accurate statements that they've ever made. And as parents, if you are aware and you know who you are and you have an identity, you pick a phenomenal community.
Absolutely.
Because who we have around us, our environment is one of the most important things in the world. Yeah. So that's just adding another person. So instead of being a child yourself, an immature, selfish child to say, oh, you want to move on? Well, now you can't see your child.
Yeah.
You have just deprived them of the most important other half of their life, their other parent.
And we see that now that we're older and we're maturing, and we realize that so much about life is bullshit and doesn't matter. And we start really thinking about meaning and the reasons for being here, purpose. Those are things that are at the focal point as you journey through this life. What we're trying to do is to make sure that you're aware of that now, wherever you are, whether you're 15, 20, 30, 40, 50, you know, these are the conversations you ought to be having with yourself. You know, who am I? Where am I going? Those types of things. So, and because they affect everything. They affect your community that you have around yourself, your children, your loved ones, and it affects the mothers of your children. It's one big community, this whole life.
It is. And we often talk about, you know, first of all, the most important relationship you have in life is a relationship with yourself.
That's number one. Number one.
The second most important relationship you can have is with the other parent to your child.
Number two. You guys remember Sesame Street? Count.
1 and 2. And when you look at that, there is a reason that those two relationships are put before the relationship with your children.
Yeah.
Because those two relationships will alter that relationship 100%.
Drastically.
If you are not good with yourself, you are not going to be the person that your children need. If you are not good with yourself, you cannot be the co-parent partner. And that, you could be married and you still have to co-parent.
Absolutely.
So this is not just, you know, separation.
Yeah.
And so those two relationships with yourself and with the partner, the other half of your child, their parent, is going to literally illustrate the framework for raising that child. So if you don't foster, nurture, and focus on those two first, it is going to show in how you show up as a parent. It is going to show in how you treat your children, how you do things, don't do things. So you really have to really think about that. And I think that a lot of parents just think that, oh, I'm going to strictly talk to them about the kids, or I'm just going to talk to them when I need to. Why would I not want to pour into you, regardless of our relationship? Because I know that when I'm not there and you're with our child, how you are, how healthy you are, mentally, physically, everything is going to be what is raising our child when I'm not around. I want you to be the best you can be.
That takes a very mature and centered and someone who's fulfilled. That takes a very fulfilled person to think like that.
100%.
You can't, if you're hungry as fuck, you're outside looking to eat every day. You know what I mean? But if you're full and you could think, it's the same adage where you have children, you know, like in the hood where I grew up, Savan. Shout out to Savan. He's rough. we went to school to eat sometimes, you know.
Yes.
And you have other kids that went to school to learn. So it's the same thing with the co-parenting thing. These people are still hungry. They're still thirsty. That's why you got moms and dads out there shirtless with selfies. Motherfucker, you got 7 kids. Why you got your shirt off? It's about time you keep everything on. Keep it all on. That's the problem. You got 8 motherfucking kids. Keep your goddamn clothes on so we don't have to go through this shit and add to the statistics. Why do you want to be number 1 on the hit list of statistics? Ridiculous. So
this is why we can't have nice things.
So it's just to me, it's like they don't need you don't need to have a social media then if that's what you up there doing. You thirst trapping with 7 kids.
I think that goes back to if you're first, the relationship. If you are doing what you're just described, not recommended, you're not good with yourself. So again, that goes into your parenting.
Yeah.
You're going to be the parent who is at the dinner table with your child, and while they're trying to tell you about their day and they're trying to have fun with you, you are checking your likes on your social media
dinner
page.
table. They're not even at the dinner table. They're in the DMs.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like you're gonna be, your child is trying to talk to you, and you because you want to see if your most recent selfie got over 5 likes.
It doesn't even matter how much you got.
I know.
Because the same people shooting at multiple people.
I know.
You might as well just sit down and be a good mom and be a good dad and have a product.
But it's priorities. And I think, we touch on problems in this podcast, and then we go to solutions, right? And I think
what is this parentification thing?
Parentification, listen.
I can't believe it's a fucking word.
Again,
I
almost
just couldn't pronounce it.
I just learned it. There's so many things that I learned that I'm like, it makes me so sad that these things really exist. Parentification.
Yeah.
It's where your child feels obligated to take care of the emotions of the parent.
Man.
No child should ever have to feel like they have to be the man of the house. No child should have to feel like they have to be the emotionally stable one in the house.
Because something's going to be missing. You got Johnny that's 14, 15, thinks he's the man of the house until a grown man shows up caving in his chest. So it's like you can't do that. You're not. And then while you're doing that, you're not being the child you should be.
And that's my point. My point is, so there's a thing that says a child laughs 4,000 times a day and an adult laughs 15. Yeah. And they say, oh, I'm looking for a partner that I want to grow old with. No, look for a partner that you can be a child with again.
Yeah.
And so childhood is one of the most beautiful things, right? When you look at a child, we often say, what is the root issue for all people? Lack of
identity?
Thank you. I was going to say, don't let me down. I know you know the answer.
Yeah.
Lack of identity. A child hasn't been told who to be yet.
No.
A child is an astronaut one day. He's a dinosaur rider the next day. He's a doctor one day. Her imagination is so beautiful, so wild that every day they can be anything they want to be. They have an imagination to create their own reality, and they're so happy and they're so playful and they're so loving because society hasn't said, stop doing that. Stop laughing so loud. Your voice is terrible. Don't sing anymore. And they just fit them into this little box, but now they feel like, oh, okay, well, I got to do this and I can't do this, right?
Yeah.
No. Yeah. And so if you take that away from a child and you make them feel like they have to be an adult when they still should be running and playing and singing and doing all the silly things that kids do, you've ruined the most precious time in their life. For what? Because you can't figure you out? No.
It's
no, we have failed as parents. Parentification, we have failed as parents, if that's a real word.
Yeah. Absolutely. It's so sad. It's so sad, but we got to do something about it. And so one of the things I think that we have to do is obviously we have to this is a recurring theme. We have to put ourselves together first, right?
Absolutely.
And we got to change our perspective and how we look at things. If the child is truly important, then that's what we both work together to give that child love, to give that child safety, security. It's beyond us, you know?
Absolutely. Our decisions are what's best for the kids.
Absolutely. And so with that perspective change, we view ourselves differently when we take care of ourselves. And then, of course, then we could take care of our child. That's one of the biggest things, man. Like, people are just thrown off because they're so thirsty. They're not good with themselves. Most of our problems, actually, every problem we have stems from identity.
Yes.
Find one. If you find one that doesn't stem from identity, then you send it into the show. You let us know. But everything stems from identity, you know, from insecurities to everything. So we have to change the way as parents we really think about things, and how we look at the relationships and how we look at the mother of our children. Just because they're not serving you. And why does a mother have to serve you? You have a child. And I have this problem with one of my buddies. We talk about this all the time, and he'll make reference to his children's moms. And I'm like, what does that have to do with your children? You don't know how they treated that guy. I don't give a fuck how they treated the guy. He has a child. So it does not matter to me how they treat the guy. That's another problem when you think about identity. As a man, we're the foundation. We're the rock.
You set the tone for everything.
You really set the tone for everything. You can't be emotional about anything that needs to get done. It just has to get done. Mm-hmm. You know, I got to cut the grass. Whether it rains, sleet, snows, I got to cut the grass. The grass is going to be there waiting for me to cut the fucking grass. So you have to cut the grass. So get your attitude intact. Stop acting like a little bitch and go cut the grass. Take care of your fucking children. No matter what the woman does, try your best to work around that. Don't react because you have something precious at stake.
Yes. And if people really, again, and identity really is it, right? We see the world as we are, not as it is. What is inside of you is all that you can give. So if you are miserable with yourself, everything you view, everyone you talk to, everything that you do is from a source of misery.
Yes.
If you are full of love, everyone you contact, everything you say is going to exude love.
Absolutely. I was just talking to Charlie about that. By the way, the best fucking coffee you ever had, Charlie makes.
Oh,
and
you see, I already drank mine, so it was that good.
We really, it's really a me thing. It's not a you thing. I project how I feel onto you. If I'm good with myself, then all of a sudden I'm giving you love. If I'm not good with myself, I'm trying to nitpick and, you get on my nerves, this and that. And so we really got to fix the problem. And the problem usually rests with us. And so one of the keys to co-parenting that I see as a co-parent is really going into it with myself fixed, myself whole, myself full of love, optimistic, gracious, compassionate. And then you get a better product. And as a man, I think that I can't form new men because it's a little diluted, but you set the tone for the most part.
Absolutely.
Our sweat regulate our partners. Like it's so
think about that. The
biological
male sweat regulates the female body. And it transitioned to exactly where I was going next. We've talked about it before, but I really want to reiterate. One of the solutions, because again, humans are the only species that procreate without a purpose, right?
Yes.
So if we take more time and choose partners based off of, intentionally procreating, intentionally wanting to make children, right? And we choose a better partner. That is something, if we take the time in the beginning, then we know what we're doing. We don't have to figure it out over here because we are intentional with our actions, right? I think to myself all the time, and we've talked about this before, when a man and a woman have a child, that man's DNA forever changes the woman. It literally stays in her body. So not only has she reproduced a form of the man, she has now become a different version of herself with that man. And if that doesn't tell you how important the male and the female,
it's amazing
what we can do, what it creates, and how it forever changes. We talk about how powerful the female body is, right?
Yes.
We grow children.
Yes.
But the male DNA is so powerful that it changes that amazing body forever. It's never the same.
Like Sandlot, forever.
Yeah, this is why we can't have nice things. So, but really, I mean, if people took the time and really thought about the life-changing choices they make every time they lay down with somebody, they might think twice before laying down with just anybody.
Absolutely. That's so true.
So I just, perspective change is one of the huge things. Loving yourself is one of the huge things. And more importantly, you don't have to want to be with the other person. You don't have to want to know what they're doing, hang out with them.
This is after the fact. Because if you don't want to be with them, and you don't want to hang out, and you don't want to see them, then
maybe
don't do
lay
it.
down with them, man.
But if this happens, and I'll let you continue.
Stuff happens, right? If you are not intentional, and even sometimes when you are intentional, life happens, man. People grow, and they grow in different directions, and that's okay. That's because true. Again, if I want the best for my child, because the child should be first, the most important thing. Yeah. If I want the best for my child, I will always want the best for their parent.
I agree. I mean, I definitely feel that way. And I think it's one of the most important relationships after yourself that you will ever have, because that's one of the most precious things that you could ever produce is an offspring, so.
And if you want to create and raise the most amazing child that you can, statistics show, studies show that having two loving, supporting, involved parents is the best thing you could ever do for your child. So let them grow up and change the world, and that's going to start with you. Absolutely.
That's our show for today. I'm your host, Hugo. We have Red, and we have Charlie's Coffee from Big Up Studio. Thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll see you next time. Much love to you guys, and co-parent greatly. Thank you for joining us on Shit My Daddy Didn't Teach Me. We hope today's conversations have inspired you to reflect on your own journey. Join us again next time for more thought-provoking discussions and uplifting stories. Please visit us at www.shitmydaddydidn'tteachme.com.